morning is posting over at robertreich.substack.com, his Substack newsletter. He says, I'm not an alarmist, and I tend to see the glass half full, but he's pointing out that some really scary people are winning primary elections and will be running for political office as Republicans this fall. In Minnesota, for example, the top election official is the Secretary of State, and the Republicans in Minnesota, Minnesota had their primary yesterday, and Kim Crockett, who is a big lie conspiracy theorist, claims the 2000 election was rigged, has also questioned whether people with disabilities should be allowed to vote, has made Islamophobic comments about Somali asylum seekers. There's a huge Somali community in Minnesota. And during the Minnesota GOP convention, played an anti-Semitic video attacking her opponent. She just won the Republican nomination in Minnesota. In Wisconsin, Republicans nominated, Robert Reich is writing, for Governor Tim Michels, the guy who has pledged to consider legislation that would overturn Trump's defeat in Wisconsin and withdraw the state's 10 electoral votes, something that is blatantly unconstitutional and illegal. They also, in Wisconsin, the Republicans also nominated for Secretary of State, that's again overseeing the elections, Amy Loudenbeck, another proponent of Trump's big lie. In Arizona, Republicans have nominated Carrie Lake for governor. Lake has said she wouldn't have certified Biden's 10,000 vote victory in her state. They also nominated, Reich writes, Mark Fincham for Secretary of State. He was at the Capitol on January 6th. They nominated Abraham Hamadah for Arizona Attorney General. He called his opponents and other Republicans weak-kneed for supporting the certification of the 2020 election. In Michigan, the Republicans have nominated Tudor Dixon for governor. He has falsely claimed that Trump won the state. Trump lost Michigan by 150,000 votes. They've also nominated Christina Caramo for Secretary of State. She's called the 2020 election fixed and said that the Dominion voting machine software flipped the election for Biden. And in Michigan, they've nominated Matthew DePerno for State Attorney General. He played a central role in those challenges to the 2020 election. Nevada Republicans have nominated Jim Marchant for Secretary of State. He said he wouldn't have certified the 2020 election, and he wants sheriffs at the polls to intimidate voters of color. Pennsylvania Republicans have nominated Doug Mastriano for governor. He led the push to overturn the state's 2020 results, and he said he would appoint Pennsylvania's top election officials. The governor of Pennsylvania, unlike most other states, appoints the Secretary of State, the senior election official. And Mastriano says he's going to put a QAnon quack wackadoodle, an election denier in that position. So these are all swing states: Minnesota, Wisconsin, Arizona, Michigan, Nevada, and Pennsylvania, where these election officials could be deciding these future elections. And this is really important stuff, that we defeat these people. Now, I realize that there are some races where the Democrats have tried to get these kinds of crazy candidates on the ballot because they think the Democrats will easily beat them. I think that's a very dangerous bet. And I'm not sure that that's the case with any of the ones that I just named, but these swing state races where we've got people who are openly embracing fascism, openly embracing or openly trashing democracy and a Republican form of government, openly calling for authoritarianism in the United States, for an end to American democracy, openly basically spitting on the graves of the founders and framers of the Constitution and all the Americans who have fought and died to preserve freedom in this country all these years. These Republican traitors, for lack of a better word, running for public office. This is scary stuff. If you live in one of these states, please double check your voter registration and do it every week, because every one of these states where you've got a Republican as Secretary of State, they are purging voters like there's no tomorrow.